everybody gets their career hurt by Donald Trump. Everybody. So yes, I do think that. I think that Trump has a way of hurting these people though too. Look at Pence now; he's irrelevant. Hurt Pence, made him irrelevant. He'll hurt Vance. Remember, unlike you guys are very charming, very good podcast hosts because you're like good listeners. Trump's not a good listener. If you're talking and Trump's not talking, just picture his head in like a baggie. You know, he's like dying. You know, because he needs to speak. He needs the light to be on him. He needs the microphone in his face. He doesn't need it in your face.
Hello and welcome to the Debatable Discussions podcast. Today we're incredibly lucky to have Anthony Scaramucci with us back again after a couple of months, and this is also the celebration of our 1 year special.
Yes, so a big thank you to Anthony. For any of our guests who don't know, but I'm sure you do, Anthony is a former Wall Street banker, but also White House communications director. He was under President Donald Trump. It's great to have you on the podcast today, Anthony.
You're not going to tell the listeners I got fired? No? I mean, you can. It's okay. I mean, you guys are like British and like very polite, right? Yeah. What day did you start your podcast?
26th of March. So it's a few days.
Congratulations. Yeah. Very good.
But yeah. So yeah, 1 year special. And we thought, who better to come on?
Well, it's very sweet of you guys to invite me. Thank you. It's a real pleasure.
Thank you for
congratulations on the show.
Thank you. So the first question is about sort of the last couple of months with President Trump. Do you think that he will follow on from his promises to bring world peace? Do you think he can do that? Do you think he wants to do that? Or do you think that was just a election promise that's thrown in the bin?
Well, I mean, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't see why he wouldn't want to do that. Even if you think he's a malevolent person, I mean, it's better to have world peace. Let's say you're diabolical and having world peace, he's got all that great demonic energy about him. I mean, why wouldn't you want to have world peace? But I think that the objectives that he wants to achieve, peace could get in the way. You know, if you're telling me that he wants to partition the Ukraine and half of it goes to Russia, the other half is a puppet state of Russia, and he has some mineral rights where the minerals in the Ukraine are quite minute and they're hard to get to. I don't know. I mean, is that world peace? If I said to you, okay, look, we're going to stop the war in Russia, but we're going to end the Ukrainian sovereignty. Is that world peace?
Probably not, no.
Yeah, it's so subjective almost, yeah.
Yes, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is the thing. He is so unpredictable. I mean, every single headline I see, the first headline on the BBC, is something different to do with him about his foreign policy. And, I mean...
moving the towers on, taking the towers off.
Yeah.
All the Greenland business.
Yeah. I mean... Yeah.
Canada.
Yeah.
Canada, yeah. I mean, interestingly, thinking about Greenland, how big a part does J.D. Vance play in his foreign policy, in your opinion? Is he the main man directing that?
I think J.D. Vance is a very smart young man. He's an accomplished guy. But I think he's doing something that is going to be a grave mistake for J.D. Vance. He's trying to mimetically be Donald Trump. So if Donald Trump says... you don't have the cards, and J.D. Vance is like in Greenland, they don't have the cards, they're going to lose the trade. It's like, it's embarrassing for him. Trump, my experience of Trump is that he likes to be flattered, but I don't think he likes sycophants that close to him. I think it turns him off. He's a little bit like a praying mantis, After you have sex with a praying mantis, it turns around and bites your head off. That's Trump. He ends up eating everybody around him, and so I think he's going to end up destroying Vance, but I just think that Vance is a little amateurish the way he's trying to pretend that he's Donald Trump light,
Do you think he's throwing his career away a little bit by sort of playing this role?
Everybody gets their career hurt by Donald Trump. Everybody. So yes, I do think that. I think that Trump has a way of hurting these people though too. Look at Pence now; he's irrelevant. Hurt Pence, made him irrelevant. He'll hurt Vance. Remember. Unlike you guys are very charming, very good podcast hosts because you're like good listeners. Trump's not a good listener. If you're talking and Trump's not talking, just picture his head in like a baggie. He's like dying. Because he needs to speak. He needs the light to be on him. He needs the microphone in his face. He doesn't need it in your face.
Yeah.
And I think these guys have taken some energy and some attention away from him. He doesn't like that. I think he'll end up killing Vance. Not physically, but I mean, killing his career metaphorically.
That's interesting though, because I remember from when Mike Pence was his vice president, you didn't hear much about Pence, did you? He was almost a subdued figure, and maybe so. In your opinion,
Really
working
good
for
point.
him, does he want the limelight? Really? Yeah.
There's only one spotlight. You got two lights on in here. You got one on you and one on you, and partially one on me. And it's very generous of you guys to offer me some light. Donald Trump wouldn't do that. They'd be both on him.
Yeah.
And all the rest of us would be in darkness, and he would want to talk for the whole podcast.
Do you think, we've seen a sort of volcanic meeting between him and Zelensky a couple of weeks ago, yeah. What do you think the sort of people who voted for him, do you think that changes a bit of the sort of shape in the Republican Party? Or?
No, I think the Republican Party is doing well in one respect. The Democrats are doing so poorly.
Yeah.
Democrats have a 29% approval rating, so the Republicans are at 54 on the direction of the economy, 47 on the overall approval rating, and so they're doing way better than the Democrats. But I just think that Democrats have lost the narrative. And whether you like Donald Trump or don't like Donald Trump, he has a narrative. He's prosecuting that narrative with his fan base. And I think that's why he's doing so well.
Thinking about another one of perhaps Trump's big aims, something that he'd love to sort of make into fruition, is this idea of annexing Canada. I mean, totally bizarre for us, for Britain as a Commonwealth country. How big an influence do you think that will have on the Canadian election?
Well, it's very galvanized. Listen, that election's tight. If you look at the election polling numbers, they're very close. Carney could lose. There's an anti-incumbent sentiment around the world in Western democracies. Look at what happened here. Ask the Conservative Party about being incumbents. How did that work out for him last time, right?
Yeah.
And so, to me, I think that Carney, if he wins, it'll be the triumph that's aided and assisted by Donald Trump. I think that people are like, whoa, what is this guy trying to do to our country? We need a tough fighter. We don't need a Trump sycophant. Yeah. And I think that's why Carney could win that election.
Yeah, that's quite interesting because we had a guest on who, and this was before Donald Trump became president, and he was very sort of like Pierre Poilievre will become the next prime minister, the next leader of Canada. But it's all changed with Trump, really.
Yeah, I think the polls are narrow. I mean, if you tell me he's going to win, the Conservatives going to win, it's not going to surprise me.
Yeah.
But I think if you said to me 6 weeks ago, I think he was up 20 points.
Wow.
Sort of like they're even right now.
How much do you think Trump has hurt Pierre Poilievre? Do you think
if he loses, he will be the principal reason why he lost?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it will have nothing to do with the other candidate. This is not so much Carney winning as much as it is. Is it Pierre Poilievre?
Yeah, Poilievre.
Poilievre. Yeah. This will be as much about him losing
Yeah.
as a result of the misfortune of having Donald Trump in his life.
Yeah. Similar to what we
You
have
like
here.
Trump?
Not really.
What about you?
Not at all. Actually, one of our most biggest social media clips, which we received, sort of quite a large thing, sort of outlash on social media, was us sort of hating on Trump with you in our last episode.
Was I hating on him too, or no?
But not in that video. I think that video was just John talking about how Trump handled the pandemic.
Yeah.
And that wasn't very well received by
It's so
some
comical, drawing on the map and things.
He's nuts. I mean, we're gonna have the Gulf of America. Maybe he's gonna turn Greenland to orange land so it fits the color of his hair and skin. Oh, the guy's nuts. I mean, here's the problem. You're talking about him. I'm talking about him. The whole podcast. I mean, he sucks for everything except for the podcast industry. He's great for the podcast industry because this is cheaper than therapy. You know what I mean? You guys are nice kids, and I can sit here and talk to you all day, and then I don't have to get charged $500 an hour from my New York Park Avenue therapist. But the truth of the matter is, the guy's completely nuts. We're having like a real conversation. We have to tiptoe around him, and there are people in the government that have to pretend he's not nuts when they know he's nuts. And but he's nuts, and he's dangerous.
Did you have any encounters with him in the Oval Office or in the West Wing of the White House in which you thought, this guy's just crazy? Like, was there any defining moments?
I mean, when I got fired, I didn't get fired by Trump. I got fired by Kelly. So he's way more subdued than people think. It's not like a jamboree session, juggling and firing people. He's mostly watching TV. I was there for 11 days. He watched like TV every day. He's watching the different news channels, and he has them all on record so he can see the A block and all the shows.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What would you say from your time at the White House? I don't think impress is the right word, but so struck you. What do you think was something that you saw then you were like, wow, in a good or a bad way?
Well, I mean, the gun stuff was the thing that really was an eye-opener for me. When I was in the White House and you went through the security briefings, and then, I mean, don't quote me on this number, guys, because I don't know the exact number. We could Google it and you could fact-check me, but I think it's like 400+ million guns in the country.
Oh, wow.
So we have more guns than people, and, there's a lot of people like me that don't own a gun.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are people that have 4 or 5 guns,
Wow.
And I think that struck me as when I was in the White House, that struck me as a concern from a domestic terrorism, from a national security perspective. I don't like that. I would prefer us to do what Australia did and get the gun thing under control. That was the biggest thing that struck me when I was there in terms of the lay of the land.
Yeah, that's really weird for us as well, because in England, no one has guns. Like, as in, it's just, I can't even imagine just anyone owning a gun
police
normally.
officers have them now, or they don't have them either?
No, only
some
sort of special
Some
police
of them do,
officers.
but some of them don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the per capita crime rate is, the per capita murder rate is in this country, but I got to imagine it's way smaller than the United States, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
It must be, yeah.
And sort of now, moving on to more economic policy, a lot of our listeners, viewers who are sort of our age are really interested to get into economics.
Mm-hmm. You own Bitcoin?
No, I don't.
No.
You own any?
No.
All right, that's good. Sign that I'm early. Go ahead.
And so talking about Bitcoin, what can you explain sort of for the people who aren't as familiar with it, what actually is Bitcoin? Why is it popular? Why do people buy it?
So, I mean, I think the broad answer is you're buying into a network. So imagine I could buy into the Bell System phone network or British Telecom's network. So you're buying into the network. You're using that token as a piece of the operating system of the network. And so I think when you think about it that way, you think about how tightly wound the network is and how hard it is to break the code and the immutability of the network. You now have an exchange where you can change value, right?
Yeah.
So I brought props with me. So this is a network. Let me show it to you. Okay, this is not the green network. This is Queen Elizabeth's network. Here, look at this. See? You see the network? And so we trust this.
Yeah.
This is like a tool in my pocket. It's made out of, your money's made out of plastic. Did you know that?
Yeah.
So I can take this out. I can give it to the maitre d'. They're going to like me, right?
Yeah.
People like me, right? You guys are actually cheap over here, right? Right? Compared to Americans. I never seen cheapness like this. Nobody tips anybody here,
Yeah.
I mean, between the teeth and the cheapness, you got some stuff to work on, right? but this is a technology.
Yeah.
So all Bitcoin is a technology. It's a immutable system, software unhackable, where we can transfer value between each other. When we really understand it that way, as it scales, the network will become more valuable. The same way Amazon became more valuable and it scaled more customers, the same way Facebook became more valuable, the same reason.
Do you think that the emergence of sort of cryptocurrencies is a good thing for society? Or do you think it does more damage than good?
Oh, I think the meme coin stuff, the stuff that Trump did, where you're just buying into worthless things and you're playing them with the rampant speculation, I think is bad. Yeah. I think Bitcoin will ultimately be good for the society. It's going to keep the central banking community from running too aggressively with the inflation in our fiat currency, and I think that's helpful. It's like a sort of long-term check on that inflation.
Yeah, I mean, another big idea around Bitcoin is almost perhaps it being used as a currency. Do you think it will become a new world currency? I mean, can you actually buy anything with Bitcoin, really?
Yeah, again, these are great questions. You guys are very well prepared. I would say that, yes, you'll be able to use the Lightning artwork. You'll be able to buy things on Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's going to be very valuable to people because it's very scarce. So you may use a stable coin, which is rendered in either a British pound or rendered in a US dollar to use for the value stuff. It's not clear to me a lot of people are going to be selling their Bitcoin. We'll see, but I see it more of a store of value than using it in a transaction.
So do you have Bitcoin? Do you invest in it?
I have a lot of it.
Oh wow, yeah. Yeah, and so for any
and my
potential investors,
fund has it.
Oh yeah.
I've got, without getting into too much detail, I have about 70% of my equity,
Oh, wow.
less my real estate. You know, like I own a house and I own one in Southampton. Other than those two houses, my liquid net worth is 70% tied to Bitcoin.
Oh, wow. So you heard it here first. Bitcoin
Mhm.
is the future, would you say?
I
Yeah.
think so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, talking about sort of other cryptocurrencies, you've mentioned meme coins. There's also been an NFT market collapse.
Yeah.
Why do you think that happened? Why do you think NFTs went down, but there are
Mhm.
cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum as well, if I'm not
Yeah.
wrong, who are still
Yeah,
stable?
yeah, the good stuff. I mean, I think Ethereum is a great chain. It's got great users. They've changed some of the elements of it. They've reduced some of the gas fees. It's a little clunkier to use than, say, a Solana, but I think it's going to be one of the winners.
And about NFTs, why do you think that happened? Why do you think there was such a big popularity hype and now it's all
Because
gone?
we're in the fashion. Remember something, but you guys think you're in the investment business. You're trying to analyze it from an investment perspective.
Yeah.
We're in the fashion business.
Okay. Yeah.
Skirts go up, skirts go down. You know, the girl's wearing a. You know, I think the if I had a dollar for every time a fad happened in investments, I would be a multi-billionaire. We had biotech in '91. We had large cap stocks. We had insurance cops in '96, and now we have the Mag 7.
Okay.
Okay, and so we have this sort of like on again, off again love affair with different things on Wall Street, and you know, people are trying to overanalyze it. In my opinion, we're going to be attracted to Bitcoin for three big reasons. Number one, it's a lock-safe technology. Number two, the fiat side of the business, I think, has been corrupted by the rampant central banking activity. So the prop that I showed you, that 50-pound note, was going to buy me a lot more money 30 years ago than it does today.
Yeah.
You know, they've sort of devalued the money. And then the last and the most important part of this is it won't be for me. I'll be long gone. But you guys will be in the middle part of your career. You know, I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to hope that you can hold those 27-inch waists. I couldn't. I blew out the 36 pretty quickly. You know what I mean? But hopefully you'll be, you know, 30 years older. Bitcoin will be at a couple $1 million per coin. And you'd be like, yeah, that old fart came into our podcast thing. It was our first live show. You'll be having like an award-winning podcast by then. And Bitcoin will be at $1 million a coin.
Oh, wow. I mean, yeah, I think, and that is really interesting though about how NFTs were a fashion. But
Fashion.
Yeah, but Bitcoins are a currency almost. They're more of a long-term
Yeah,
thing.
Bitcoin is more durable. You know, that
Yeah.
thing just came in. It was like a skirt. You know, the hula. You guys don't remember the hula hoop. But that was a big deal when I was a kid. You had a hula hoop and you shook it around like you were in a hula, like in Hawaii. And then people said, all right, this is stupid. And then you stopped having it.
I mean,
It's like what the NFTs were.
It's so true because was it that NFT of a monkey?
Yeah.
It was a really popular one, and I remember
Bored
a friend.
apes, the bored apes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember a friend saying, "Oh yeah, they're really cool. You know, I really want to get one."
Right.
And then I reminded him about it like a few months ago, and it's like, well, yeah, I mean, they're not in fashion anymore. They're not cool
Yeah,
anymore.
There's, there's still a value for them. It's just not going to be as high of a, you know.
Yeah.
Remember, you think you're in the investment business, but I know you're in the fashion business. Follow the fads.
Yeah. So, talking about crypto, what is the sort of government regulation on crypto nowadays? Mostly in the States.
Yeah.
Is that changing? Are more regulations being put in place?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think the big problem, the big debate in the United States, it was regulation by enforcement. You would go see the SEC, ask them what the rules are. They would tell you, we're not going to tell you the rules. Then you go do something, and you did it wrong. We're going to sue you. Well, you didn't tell me what the rules were. I mean, even Coinbase got some judge to like yell at the SEC.
Yeah.
And whether you like Trump or dislike Trump, I think he's going to clean that up. I think there's really proper and good people that are going to fairly regulate this part of the industry.
Oh well, yeah.
Do you think it's the future of banking?
Yeah. Do you think we'll almost replace traditional banking systems?
I think it's going to change banking in the same way British Telecom and I don't know what's here. Is it Vodafone?
Vodafone, yeah.
So, you know, we had these things here. When I lived in Great Britain 40 years ago as a student, we had these things that were tied to hardwired phones and they were tied to desktops. Maybe some big flip phones like Gordon Gekko had, you know what I mean? And people said, well, when the internet comes and the mobile phones comes, it's going to wipe out the phone businesses. But it didn't. The phone businesses are now where you go to pay a monthly fee to have a Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? And maybe you'll end up paying a monthly fee where you're going to do all your transactions on Bitcoin or Solana or some stable coin, but you're paying your bank rather than these per transaction things or these minimum accounts that are necessary to hold at a bank. Maybe there'll be no minimum. And because of the flows that are happening and the cheapness of the transaction, you'll pay them a small fee like you pay a Wi-Fi hookup.
Oh, yeah. And that is actually I've never heard that idea before, but it does make sense almost. We don't
I think
replace
that's the future.
Volt.
It's just going to be different than you think.
A big question
There's two guarantees about the future. The future's coming, whether you like it or not. You're screwed. And then secondarily, it's going to be different. It's just going to be different than what you think it is.
I guess you can never really predict it, can you? Because
how are you going to predict it? You could end up with a humanoid robot that's AI. It's cleaning your house. 3 to 5 years.
Oh, wow, yeah. Another big
Do you live like a slob, or you look pretty tidy?
I'd say so.
You probably don't need the robot. He needs her?
No, I don't think so.
No, he's okay. So. He's well dressed.
Yeah.
All right, just asking. I guess I'm the only person here that's going to need the robot. But
James is right.
But James obviously looks like he would need the robot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've got to say, it would be quite convenient though, even for me.
Even for us,
Yeah.
Pick up
do
my
everything.
laundry.
Pretty much it. They're going to have auto robots where you have a diagnostic and you're driving the car and the oil's slightly low, or I think you're going to have a chip.
Oh, right, yeah.
You're going to say, okay, your blood pressure's out of control or your glucose is out of control, go for a 20-minute walk. I think it's all coming.
Do you think Mr. Musk is going to be the man bankrolling all that sort of?
It'd be a big part of it, yeah. Don't count him out.
Yeah.
Democrats would be very wise to not feud with him. Try to get him back on side. That would be my message to them.
Yeah, what do you think about him as a person? Do you think he really almost is part of America's future? I mean, we don't know what it is, but he...
Yeah, I think. Well, listen. I mean, look. I mean, Elon is a citizen. He's like any. I mean, he can't run for president because he was born in South Africa, but he's going to be a big part of the future. Get him back on side. You guys, fuck. I mean, you allowed to curse on this podcast?
Yeah, that's fine.
The guy's selling eco-friendly cars to the left. You got everybody up in arms now. Just calm down. Bring Elon back into the fold.
Yeah.
You got to give him something to do. Biden shunned him. Harris shunned him. Yeah. You didn't let him go to the UAW meeting. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I do think for me, well, what really impressed me, I don't think, again, maybe struck is a better word, but Elon initially was sort of an eco-friendly person who you would assume is very sort of Democrat-friendly. You would assume that. But recently, I think there's been a big change.
He doesn't like the woke stuff about the Democrats, right?
Yeah.
So he's willing to accept the Trump craze. Remember with Donald Trump, one thing, guys, you don't get a slice of Donald Trump. You're not like at the carving station for the turkey. It's Easter Sunday. You're walking over to you. I'll take a little slice of deregulation. Can you give me an extra layer of tax extension, the tax cuts? And I'll take a little bit of this. No, you get everything. Donald Trump's going to force feed you the meme coin where he did an $800 million rug pull. He's going to force you the rhetoric on the Canadian livelihood, the sustainability of Canada by calling it the 51st state. He's going to lambaste Greenland and Denmark. He's going to take, I guess, Panama. He is absolutely fucking batshit, right? You know that, right? You know how crazy he is, right? Yeah. So, I mean, this is... We're walking around like he's normal and there's like a 4D chess game going on. Meantime, he's sitting there, the fat fuck that he is, he's eating the pieces, He's not playing 4D chess. It's just stupid.
So is there someone, because obviously he is this crazy bloke who, as you said, likes to watch TV, just sort of watch it all fall into place. Is there anyone who controls it behind the scenes or behind him? Or is he just unpredictable?
Melania. Melania hates him. Probably, probably hates him more than my wife, and it's really fucking close because my wife hates him, but not as much as Melania. But I do think he listens to her.
Yeah.
Probably the only person. And not on every topic, just on certain things.
Do you think, now this is more maybe an esoteric question, but what do you think Trump is going to do? Do you think he's going to try to pass on the presidency to one of his sons? Do you think
Do you think that?
I think there's a possibility.
Do you think that?
I think it's a chance as well, just because the idea we have of him is this crazy guy who wants to almost control America forever.
Like Barron.
Yeah, Barron, or is he
Don
setting him
Jr.
up to be the heir? What do you think? Yeah, is it?
Hey, maybe.
Yeah, it's so hard to tell.
I'm worried about it. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
He's exact nuts.
Yeah.
First Trump administration, I would say no.
Oh, yeah.
Because you had smart people that were impeding what he was trying to do. The second Trump, they're like, go crazy.
Yeah.
I think some of them want it.
Who in the first Trump administration, I mean, other than yourself, would you say was a good voice for reason for him? Didn't make him go to...
Mattis,
Okay.
John Kelly, the White House chief of staff.
Oh, yeah.
You know, those are people.
Yeah.
Reince Priebus.
Yeah.
They weren't like this. These are just sycophants surrounding him. You know.
Yeah.
Roof. They sit there and they like bark like a dog for the guy. You know, it's embarrassing actually.
Yeah.
I think one more question that I think a lot of people want an answer to is that you've had obviously huge success with hedge funds as first a banker at Goldman and now at your own. What do you think's one important factor, both as a banker and as a manager, that differentiates?
There's only one factor, and Simon Cowell, who's a Brit, right?
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
the pop guy,
The X Factor.
yeah.
The X Factors. You see that board? Look at the wall over there. Does that wall look like it's edible?
No.
Okay, but if I had to eat that wall, I would eat it. I'd break it down and I would eat it. You got to chew yourself right through that wall. You have to think like that. You can't stop for anybody. I got fired from the White House. Who cares? I missed the Bitcoin move. Who cares? I'm in Bitcoin now. That's great. If there's a bear market. Who cares? You understand what I'm saying? You got to get locked into the target. Go for the target.
Yeah.
And don't let anybody's thoughts interrupt your process of going for the target.
Yeah. It's almost that we sort of call it, and I guess in like UK popular culture now, it's that dog attitude. You're fixed on it and you want it. Nothing gets in your way.
Dog it.
Yeah. I think what really impressed me from...
Who's the smarter of the two of you?
Oh, I don't know.
I couldn't tell.
Well, we do
You know?
both
Okay.
very different
Just thought I'd
subjects.
throw that out there because just trying to spin you up on your own podcast. What subject do you do?
So I do history RS and French for A-level,
Okay.
so humanities sort of guy.
I do
He
biology.
speaks French, right? You
Yeah.
speak French?
Yeah, a bit, yeah.
All right.
I do biology, chemistry and maths.
Are you going to be an MP?
No, I can't because I'm not British.
Okay. Are you going to be an MP?
Maybe in later life, but
Who wants
journalism.
to be an MP? He's going to be prime
I don't
minister.
think he wants it now, but I think,
yeah.
I mean, it's a career.
Well, we'll see. I mean, look, first of all, thank God, because we need really good people to go into it. But, you should be careful with it, though, because it is a shitty life.
If he does and he's PM, I'm happy to be
Yeah.
What are you going to be?
press director or something.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Well, may you last longer than 11 days. I hope you look like you're going to.
Well, it's sort of what impressed me a lot from our last interview was you talking about your sort of family background and how you've had to work a lot for yourself.
Yeah.
If you
How to
had one
figure it out.
message, if you had one message for sort of people our age who are in that position and who are sort of hungry,
Mm-hmm.
what would your message be for them?
You can't, under any circumstances, give up, and you can't let anybody invade your mind space. Right? Because you're hard charging, you're both hard charging, you're good-looking guys. You get people shooting at you. Can't get in your mind space. Yeah, you're good. Goodbye. Boom, boom, boom. I'm leaving you alone.
I think that's a really good end to the episode, frankly.
Yeah, there you go.
Just-
Don't give up under
Yeah.
any circumstances.
So
Yeah.
All right.
hopefully you've enjoyed the episode. If you have, please listen to our last episode with Anthony as well, back in August. And the sort of last message, don't give up.
Yeah.
It's the number one thing. Can't let anybody see you sweat.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Great to be on with you.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you very much. And everyone, please check out Anthony. And follow the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.